The Young and the Restless, Tracy, Alan and the Mystery of Love, Emotions and Troubled Relationships. Tracy Abbott has always been a symbol of warmth and stability in the Abbott family, but when faced with emotional shocks, she must face inevitable decisions. Her life begins to shake when Alan Y&R, the man she trusted and loved, turns out to be a fraud. While Tracy grieves and tries to deal with this deception, the stories around her become more complicated when Billy Abbott realizes that Phyllis Summers is going through a serious psychological crisis. The two seemingly unrelated stories gradually intersect, as dark truths and unexplored emotions gradually come to light. Tracy and the Torn Emotions. Tracy Abbott, a woman who has always been resilient and enduring, is faced with a profound emotional shock for the first time in her life. Alan Y&R, the man she thought was the love of her life, turns out to be an imposter, part of a love game that has no end. When the truth comes out, Tracy feels torn apart inside. She can't believe she was deceived by the man she once trusted. The mixed emotions leave her unable to find a way out, and tears stream down Tracy's face. She wonders if true love exists in this world, where deception and betrayal are all around. Billy and Phyllis, the double crisis. Meanwhile, Billy Abbott, Tracy's close brother, begins to realize that Phyllis Summers, with whom he once had a complicated relationship, is facing a serious crisis. Phyllis, who was always confident and strong, now appears weaker and more vulnerable than ever. Billy can't help but feel worried as he watches her fall into such a state of mind. Their relationship, already full of ups and downs, is now even more complicated and awkward. Billy is faced with a crucial decision. What will he do when he has to choose between protecting his family and keeping his never-ending feelings for Phyllis? Jack and Ashley, worrying about Tracy. When Tracy is hurt, Jack and Ashley Abbott can't help but worry about their sister. Tracy's family ties have always been a strong support, but when faced with this emotional shock, Jack and Ashley must do everything they can to help Tracy get back on her feet. However, the circumstances surrounding Tracy become more complicated. Jack worries that the shock will cause Tracy to have a mental breakdown, and Ashley worries that Alan's past, as well as Tracy's failed relationship, may affect her mental health. They know Tracy is resilient, but can she make it through this ordeal without being too deeply hurt? Michael Baldwin, Victor Newman and the hidden history. As Michael Baldwin begins to pick up on a hint from Victor Newman about Victor's relationship with Aristotle Dumas, a part of his mysterious past is revealed. Michael, always shrewd and cautious, cannot ignore the signs that Victor is unintentionally revealing about this relationship. The story that Victor begins to tell takes Michael by surprise, confirming that he and Aristotle Dumas have a deep history, but not in the way many people imagine. This is more than just a relationship between colleagues or friends, it is one filled with betrayals, unforgivable mistakes, and bad decisions that could have had far-reaching consequences. This history is not only a part of Victor's life, but also the key to explaining many of his current motivations and actions. Betrayal, a dark emotional image. Victor Newman, who has always been tough and cold, now has to face deep wounds from his past. His relationship with Aristotle Dumas, while not a love affair, was filled with intense emotions and may have led to unforgivable acts of betrayal. Victor confirms that this story is not just a power struggle between two men, but also a spiritual battle about loyalty, trust and facing up to bad decisions. What Michael discovers about Victor's past will make him rethink his relationship with him and what he is really looking for in life. The Young and the Restless, Tracy Abbott faces a brutal truth. Tracy Abbott, the strong-willed matriarch and model of warmth in the Abbott family, suddenly faces a profound emotional shock that could change everything she believes in. Tracy's seemingly stable and peaceful life is thrown into chaos as she begins to uncover dark secrets and devastating truths about Alan Y&R, the man she loved and trusted. What Tracy thought was a perfect relationship is now falling apart, and everything she knows may be a show orchestrated by a mastermind. Tracy's disturbing discovery. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Tracy will face a truth that is not only alarming but also devastating. She begins to realize that something is wrong with Alan, and that what he appears to be is not who he really is. When Tracy makes a major discovery, she immediately contacts Jack Abbott to share the disturbing news. Tracy's anguished words, "I'm not sure he's who he says he is." This sentence reflects her utter disappointment. Her eyes are filled with tears, showing extreme confusion and anxiety. Tracy, who has always trusted her judgment, is now faced with a truth she never imagined. Alan or Martin? As the puzzle of the kidnapper and the mysterious events gradually appear to Tracy, she begins to realize something very unpleasant. Alan, the man she always thought was a man of integrity, may be capable of unacceptable actions. Despite living in a loving environment, Tracy gradually realizes that Alan may not be who she thought he was. Tracy begins to suspect that Martin, whom she thought was dead for a long time, may still be alive and scheming in a sophisticated way. She even suspects that Martin may have switched places with Alan. That is why every change in Alan's behavior makes Tracy feel uneasy. She cannot help but think that she has been deceived all this time, and that everything is just a play that Martin created to keep her from realizing the truth. Feelings of anguish and anxious anticipation. The realization that Alan may be an imposter causes Tracy to experience indescribable anguish. Not only is Tracy facing betrayal from the man she loves, but she also struggles with the fear that all her relationships have been violated and her safety is threatened. Tracy's anxiety grows as she realizes that everything she knows about Alan may be part of Martin's long-term plan. Under great psychological pressure, Tracy is forced to make anxious predictions about what Martin will do next. If he is still alive, what will he do next for Tracy and her loved ones? Tracy wonders if there are other plots lurking behind the scenes, and will she be able to stop them in time? Jack and Ashley, supporting Tracy in a crisis. Jack and Ashley Abbott, Tracy's closest relatives, cannot stand by and watch their sister struggle with dark secrets and unverified suspicions. They are both worried about Tracy, but can do little more than comfort her and advise her to calmly face the truth. However, nothing can prepare them for what Tracy will face when she discovers that everything she has believed in may be a lie. Jack, with his strong protective instincts, is determined to help Tracy find the truth, no matter the danger. But what worries Jack most is the damage Tracy will suffer if the truth about Alan and Martin is exposed. Will Tracy have the strength to face these emotional shocks? As Tracy gets closer to the truth about Alan and Martin, she realizes that her life will never be the same. The relationships around her, including those with Jack, Ashley, and other relatives, will have to change. She will have to face a world in which trust and love do not always exist intact. Can Tracy find peace in the face of such a harsh truth? Tracy will have to make important decisions to protect herself and her family, while dealing with the pain of loss and the feeling of being lied to. The discovery of Martin will likely lead to an inevitable confrontation between him and Tracy, as the truth is revealed. Tracy Abbott is facing one of the biggest challenges of her life. As the truth about Alan and Martin begins to emerge, she faces not only an emotional shock, but also a devastating betrayal from the person she trusted the most. Feelings of confusion, disappointment and heartbreak will follow her throughout her journey to find the truth. But can Tracy overcome this challenge, or will she suffer further shocks from a dark past that has yet to be revealed? Tracy's every move is full of surprises, and her future decisions will determine the fate of the Abbott family. In a world full of complicated relationships, betrayal and emotional pain are inevitable. Tracy must deal with the pain of a cheating relationship, while Billy and Phyllis work together to resolve their personal crises. Jack and Ashley must protect Tracy from psychological shock, while Michael uncovers secrets from Victor's past, opening up a complicated love story that could change everything. All of these situations intertwine, creating a complex picture of love, betrayal and loyalty on The Young and the Restless. In the world full of challenges and tragedies on The Young and the Restless, the relationship between Billy Abbott and Phyllis Summers has always been one of the most complex and emotional stories. From sweet moments to intense emotional battles, Billy and Phyllis have been through a lot. But no one could have expected that, in the most difficult moments, they would find each other again. Once again, their lives are thrown into a fierce confrontation, as Phyllis struggles with herself after being imprisoned and dragged into uncontrollable chaos. Phyllis and the emotional struggle. Phyllis Summers, a strong and determined woman, suddenly finds herself in a serious emotional crisis. After a long period of confinement, facing deep emotional trauma and psychological crises, Phyllis is no longer the confident and assertive woman everyone once knew. Feeling out of control has made her weaker than ever. She cannot face the truth about herself, cannot accept the fact that these challenges have deeply affected her psychologically and emotionally. When Phyllis looks in the mirror, she sees a completely different woman. She cannot accept that her children, especially Summer, will see her in such a weak and troubled state. "I can't let my children see me like this," Phyllis insists, the worry and pain in her voice clear. The image of a strong, protective mother gradually fades from her mind, replaced by a woman struggling with herself, unable to find a way out. Billy arrives to help Phyllis while Phyllis is struggling with painful emotions. Billy Abbott, who used to be an important part of her life, cannot stand by and watch her suffer alone. Despite the many breakups and resentments he has gone through, Billy cannot leave Phyllis alone when she needs help. With an open heart and genuine concern, Billy decides to come to Phyllis, asking her what she needs and what he can do to help her through this difficult time. When he asks, "How can I help you?" Billy is not just offering support, but actually affirming his willingness to help and care for Phyllis, no matter how complicated their relationship is. Phyllis, though reluctant to admit it, cannot help but share with Billy what is on her mind. Phyllis, in her crisis, admits to Billy that she has an idea, a plan, although she is not sure if it will really help her overcome her current pain. It is a risky move, and Phyllis does not know if it can be a step forward or just a self-deception. But for Phyllis, it may be her only chance to regain control of her life. Old feelings resurface. Sally's jealousy when Billy decides to help Phyllis. He is not simply an old friend reaching out to save her, but also a man Phyllis once loved. The relationship between Billy and Phyllis is not only filled with sweet memories but also many conflicts and feelings that have never completely ended. This act of kindness caused the old feelings between them to rekindle. However, this attention and closeness is not something that Billy's current girlfriend, Sally Spectra, can easily ignore. Billy and Sally's relationship has not been without its challenges and tensions, and the growing intimacy between Billy and Phyllis will inevitably make Sally jealous. Sally's jealousy may flare up when she realizes that Billy, even though he is just trying to help Phyllis, is spending more time and attention on her. Sally knows that this attention may cause Billy to turn back to Phyllis, which could ruin their current relationship. Sally will have to deal with the fear that Billy's old feelings for Phyllis may cause him to drift away from her. This insecurity may lead to jealous actions, suspicion, and even decisions that Sally cannot control. What will Sally do when faced with the risk of losing Billy to the woman he once loved? Can Phyllis move forward? As Billy and Phyllis face emotional challenges together, the biggest question is whether Phyllis can move forward. Will her plan help her overcome her pain, or will it only prolong her weariness and insecurity? Will her relationship with Billy truly help her find herself, or is it just a temporary emotional intoxication? This will depend on how Phyllis confronts her past and the truth about herself. She needs to accept what happened, face her hurts and learn to forgive, not only others, but also herself. Billy's involvement with her may be a turning point, but is it the beginning of a new relationship or just a replay of past relationships? Complicated relationships and emotional decisions on the young and the restless. Every relationship is filled with great challenges. The relationship between Billy, Phyllis, and Sally reflects not only complex emotions, but also the struggle between the past and the present. As Phyllis struggles to find peace in her soul, Billy stands up for her and helps her, though the outcome is unclear. Old feelings may resurface, but is it a chance for them to start over, or just another cycle? Every decision in this story has profound consequences, affecting not only Phyllis and Billy's lives, but also Billy's current relationship with Sally. These decisions will force all the characters to confront themselves, the choices they've made in their lives, and the feelings that have never completely faded. I will give you some plot of The Young and the Restless. Your task is to develop it into a complete article, longer than 5,000 characters. Stick to the content, logical and reasonable, creative to make it more vivid. Okay? Let's say Tracy will receive shocking news from Alan Y&R. Alan is not actually Alan, but his evil twin brother, Martin Lauren, or so it seems, considering he is the one behind the kidnapping of Phyllis and Sharon Newman. What shocking news did Alan bring Tracy? Was he suddenly leaving town? Whatever the news, Jack and Diane Abbott will be there to support Tracy. Will he break up with her unexpectedly? Fans will have to tune in to find out. In the world of surprises and tragedy on The Young and the Restless, no one could have predicted that Tracy Abbott, a woman who has always been strong and resilient, would face such an emotional shock and such a painful betrayal. Her relationship with Alan Y&R, the man she trusted and loved, suddenly fell into turmoil when a horrifying truth was revealed. Tracy discovered that the Alan she knew was not Alan, but his twin brother, Martin Y&R, a vicious man who was behind the kidnapping of Phyllis and Newman. As these truths gradually emerged, Tracy could not believe her eyes. Everything she believed about Alan suddenly collapses, and she is confronted with a cruel reality that she never expected. This story is not only a painful exploration of the nature of the man she loves, but also a painful journey in which she will have to face betrayal, lies and dark events. The truth is unveiled: Martin, not Alan. When Tracy receives news from Alan, everything seems to change. But just as she begins to believe his words, an undeniable truth is revealed: the Alan she loves is not Alan but Martin, the evil twin brother she never expected. The name Martin Y&R has always been known as a criminal with many shady acts, especially the evil plans he has carried out in the past. Martin is not only the one behind the kidnapping of Phyllis and Newman, but also the one who controls everything in the dark. Tracy, in shock and disbelief, couldn't believe it. She had always thought that Alan was a decent man who protected her, but the truth was too cruel. The feeling of betrayal and deception sent Tracy into an emotional turmoil, and she didn't know what to do with what she had just discovered. Alan suddenly leaves town, shocking news in a surprising turn of events. Alan, or Martin in fact, announced that he was suddenly leaving Genoa City, and this left Tracy even more confused. She couldn't understand why the man she had trusted for so long was acting so coldly. Why did he decide to leave her now? Was he afraid of being exposed or had some evil plan that Tracy couldn't see? Tracy felt abandoned in a world she could no longer control. Everything she knew about Alan suddenly collapsed. Not only is he her lover, but all the sincere feelings she once had for him are now erased. What Tracy has to face is not just the betrayal of a man, but the betrayal of her own trust. What will she do when she discovers that the person she trusted is a liar and dangerous person? Jack and Diane, Tracy's supporters in this painful moment, Jack and Diane Abbott, Tracy's loved ones, will be there to encourage and support her through her difficulties. They understand that the betrayal of Alan, or Martin, will be a huge wound for Tracy, and they are willing to do everything they can to help her overcome it. Jack, with his unconditional love and protection for his sister, will always be by Tracy's side, trying to help her find peace of mind. Diane, despite her past conflicts with Tracy, was not going to let Tracy face this challenge alone. Their relationship may have been rocky, but Diane understood that family was the most important thing in difficult times. Both Jack and Diane knew that Tracy would need a lot of emotional support to get through this shock, and they would do everything they could to help her regain her confidence and strength. One big question that the Young and the Restless fans are asking is whether Alan, or Martin, will actually break up with Tracy. If Martin has been cheating on her for so long, will he finally leave her again, or could there be a change of heart? Tracy will definitely be faced with a difficult choice. She must decide whether she will continue to love a man who has cheated on her, or whether she can find forgiveness in her heart and continue this relationship. But can love overcome betrayal? Can Tracy forgive Martin, or will she choose to let go and start over? Tracy and Alan, or Martin, are at a major turning point in their relationship, and the decisions Tracy makes will affect not only her life, but also the lives of those around her. The dark truth, Martin and the complicated relationship. As the truth about Martin is revealed, everyone will realize that what Tracy is facing is more than just an emotional shock. This is a battle between good and evil, between sincere emotions and dark plots. Martin is not only the one behind the kidnappings and wrongdoings, but also part of a larger story that Tracy is not aware of. While Tracy struggles with her mixed emotions, the people around her, especially Jack and Diane, will face complicated relationships when they stand by her. Can they help Tracy deal with this dark truth, or will they also be caught up in Martin's plots and bad decisions?